There comes a moment, after all the noise, the chaos, the back and forth, when you finally sit alone in the quiet and ask yourself a question you've been avoiding for far too long. A question that breaks you, but also frees you. Why am I still holding on to someone who's already let go of me? You don't ask it lightly. You've been through the storm. You've stayed up night after night, staring at your ceiling, replaying every word, every fight, every memory that used to mean everything and now only burns. You've written out messages and deleted them. You've tried to pretend you're fine, smiling around friends while dying inside, trying to fake normalcy while your chest feels hollow. And for what? For someone who keeps slipping further away every time you reach out, who responds with less emotion than you pour into every word. Someone who made you feel like the world when they wanted you, and now makes you feel like an inconvenience. You keep telling yourself that maybe if you hold on a little longer, she'll remember. She'll miss the way you held space for her without asking anything in return. She'll remember the safety of your silence, the way you listened more than you spoke, the way you stayed when most would have walked away. But here's the truth that hits hardest. Love doesn't die in a moment. It dies in pieces, and the most painful thing is watching someone you love slowly detach from you while you're still fighting to stay connected. And that kind of pain, that's a quiet devastation that eats away at your self-worth. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It tells you you're not enough, that if you were smarter, funnier, more attractive, more mysterious, less needy, more chill, maybe she would have stayed. Maybe she would have seen you. But that's the lie, isn't it? The lie we buy into when we make someone else's inability to love us our personal failure. You didn't lose her because you were too much. You lost her because she couldn't meet you where you were willing to go. And instead of honoring that truth, you turned inward. You overanalyzed. You became consumed. You started chasing her, not physically maybe, not with grand romantic gestures, but emotionally. With every thought, every unanswered message, every desperate hope that she'd notice your absence, you chased her in your mind, in the way you obsessed over her stories, her moods, her attention. She became your world, while you became a footnote in hers. But here's the brutal truth that sets you free the moment you stop running from it. She comes back the moment you stop chasing her. Not because of some manipulative game, not because you're trying to trigger her ego, but because the moment you finally reclaim your energy, your dignity, yourself, something powerful shifts. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about genuinely realizing that you deserve peace more than you deserve closure, that your value is not dependent on whether she comes back, that your heart, no matter how shattered it feels, still belongs to you, and that's the beginning of your return to power. You see, what we don't talk about enough is how chasing ruins you from the inside out. It turns love into performance. It robs you of your voice. You start second guessing your every word. You become overly agreeable. You laugh when you don't want to. You become afraid to express how you really feel in case it pushes her further away. And the saddest part? You stop recognizing yourself. You become a stranger to your own reflection. The confident, grounded version of you that once had dreams, standards, direction, that version starts to fade, and all that's left is a shell, waiting for someone else to define their worth. But here's what you don't realize while you're in that fog. Your silence, your distance, your calm detachment is louder than any confession. When you stop chasing, not as a tactic, but as a reflection of your growth, your absence begins to echo. She starts to feel it. She notices the shift. The space that was once filled by your constant emotional presence is now still, and that silence speaks. It makes her question. It makes her wonder if she underestimated what she had, because now she can no longer rely on your energy to validate her. You're not reaching anymore. You're not waiting anymore. You're living again, breathing, healing. And let me say this clearly, your healing is not a threat to her. It's not revenge, it's redemption for you, for all the pieces of yourself you gave away, hoping to be loved in return, for all the times you lowered your standards to keep the peace, for all the quiet nights you sacrificed your dignity just to feel a moment of closeness. You don't owe her bitterness, you don't owe her a show, but you do owe yourself a life that feels whole without needing her in it. And yes, she may come back. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day when the noise settles, when the distractions fade, when the thrill of the attention wears off, she'll remember. She'll remember the one who saw her, who loved her without asking her to be anything but herself. She'll remember the way you stayed, the way you cared, the way you anchored her when everything else felt temporary. And she'll wonder how she let that go, how she lost something so rare in a world full of surface level love. But by then, something inside you will have changed. You won't be the same person she left. You won't be waiting at the same emotional doorstep. Because pain, when faced and felt fully, doesn't just pass, it transforms. It makes you sharper, softer in some ways, but stronger in the ways that matter. You'll begin to realize that the love you gave wasn't a waste. It wasn't too much. It wasn't something to regret. It was proof that you're capable of showing up with your whole heart, and that's something most people never even scratch the surface of. So no, don't chase her. Don't beg. Don't try to remind her of who you are, because the moment you stop chasing, you start remembering who you are. And the moment you remember that, really remember, you become untouchable. You're not here to convince someone to love you. You're not here to earn the bare minimum. You are here to grow, to feel, to evolve, to love without attachment. And when you reach that place of stillness inside yourself, when you stop needing anyone to fill the silence, that's when the universe brings people who see you, not just want you. Let her feel your absence. Let her sit in the space where your energy used to live. Not because you want to punish her, but because you owe yourself that boundary, that peace, that space to heal. And if she comes back, she'll find someone stronger, someone who no longer chases, but chooses, someone who no longer needs to be needed, but desires to be respected. Someone who understands that real love doesn't require you to lose yourself. So stop chasing, let go, not out of spite, but out of love for the person you're becoming. She may come back, or she may not, but you are finally coming home to yourself. And that's the most powerful return of all. And if you've made it this far, I know your heart is tired. Tired of holding on, tired of overthinking every word, tired of wondering why you weren't enough for someone who once said you were everything. But here's what I want you to remember as this ends. You are not broken. You are not weak because you loved deeply. And you are not foolish for hoping, even if that hope was never met with the same energy. This wasn't about getting her back. This was never really about her. This was about you, quietly learning to stand again after the weight of love pulled you to your knees. About finding the strength to let go, not because you stopped caring, but because you started caring about yourself more. About recognizing that your worth doesn't rise and fall based on someone else's ability to see it. You are still whole, even now, especially now, not because someone stayed, but because you did. So breathe, genuinely breathe. Let the silence settle in, not as an emptiness, but as space. Space for new things to grow. Space for your soul to expand without constantly contorting itself to fit into someone else's life. Space for peace to return, not through her presence, but through your own. And if she ever does come back, she'll come back to someone different, someone quieter, wiser, softer, but stronger. Someone who no longer waits at closed doors. Someone who knows the right people never have to be chased. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And most importantly, thank you for surviving. You're not alone. You never were. Until next time, take care of your heart. It's been through enough. Now it's time to let it heal.